Brian, as you say, you've spent the day speaking to people who've lined up outside Centrelink offices, many of them for the first time in their lives. What did they have to say?
Yeah, young and old, men and women, people in management positions, people in our industry, and suddenly finding themselves out of a job for who knows how long, a look of desperation and almost fear in many of their eyes. Many of them told, and one 20-year-old and his girlfriend were told 6 weeks to get the benefits. Here's what a few of them had to say when we spoke to them.
I just get in here and get some money so I can keep eating.
Everything should have been done online, and people should not be standing in the queue.
Tried to access services online with MyGov and the whole thing just didn't work.
Look, the minister's promising that the website will be working better tomorrow, but we're expecting more long queues as more people find themselves out of work.
That was devastating.
Yeah. I just think, you know, when you hear the word Centrelink, it's enough to incite fear in anyone who's had to, and I'm not blaming Centrelink at all, but it's a very difficult system to navigate.
Yeah. And I think, can you imagine rocking down there, losing your job, and then thinking you're going to go into Centrelink and speak to somebody, and then there's this massive line with just hundreds of people.
Yeah. Yeah. What would you do? Like, it's such a hopeless kind of place to be. And I think people who do have to be on benefits for whatever reason, they already know what that's like. But for a lot of people,
this is a new system.
Yeah, and they've never had to approach this. So
and I can imagine that a lot of people are thinking, how am I going to support my family? How am I going to feed my kids? How am I going to pay this month's mortgage? I have to line up in this line, but all of these people are here as well. So what am I actually going to be entitled to?
Yeah.
So
am I actually going to even get to speak to someone today?
Am I going to receive any payments?
Yeah.
Many of them have been told they have to physically come in, even if the website was working, because they need to get their Centrelink reference number. They have to do that in person. The minister earlier said that the website crashed in part because of a DDoS, a direct denial of service attack, or a hack. It turns out they simply massively underestimated the demand.
You can imagine the vibe that would have been, like, it would have been terrible, you know, just having to be in that line for hours and hours and hours. It wouldn't have been a nice place to be at all.
And everybody in that line would have been talking about their own individual situations if they were talking to each other at all. And it would have been really depressing and overwhelming. And I found that story really alarming. When I saw that on the news and saw all the people, that's when I realised that our world was changed. That was it. We weren't going to be the same again for quite some time.
I think it's also interesting that she's saying if you're not in immediate need of benefits now, wait.
Yeah.
And it seems a bit ambivalent as to, well, when do I go? Do I go now and get things sorted, or do I wait? Like, how hungry do I have to be? You know, how broke do I have to be before I start the process?
And what we see in mental health circles is people, if you're the main income earner in your family and you lose your job, this feeling of hopelessness and worthlessness and feelings of I can't provide for my family, that's my job, so what's the point? And then that can lead to alcohol intake, increased alcohol intake. That can lead to aggression,
unhealthy coping mechanisms,
violence, domestic violence that might not have ever been in the house before because
of the elevated stress.
Stress and these feelings of worthlessness and signs and symptoms of anxiety and depression that are coming through. Terrifying.
If you find these videos helpful, hit the subscribe button and we'll see you next time.